Coming up in this episode of PWD Allies podcast.
David Eby, in his own mind, he's in his own mind, he's the Jack Bauer. He's coming in to save the day. It's like, I'm going to come in and defuse this bomb. Well, excuse me, he's the one that built the bomb.
The architect.
He's the one that set the timer on the bomb.
Oh dear.
And he's the one that detonated the bomb.
PWD Allies, the best disability podcast in Canada. Starring your hosts, Brent Frayne. And as always, his producer and editor, Neil Matheson.
And today we're going to talk about the biggest news story in BC politics in 2025. I think this is the biggest news story, and it is going to affect so many people. I mean, I would say the whole province, really, the whole province is going to affect people's land claims. Do you really own your property in British Columbia? Well, ask David Eby that question. Ask David Eby. Because Indigenous land claims, what a complete mess it is. I mean, everywhere I turn in the news hours, I turn the news hours on, I look on social media, I talk to my neighbors, people in my building, and they say, hey, is this building going to be sold? I mean, do they actually own this building? I say,
yeah,
I don't know.
It really is a mess, Brent. I mean, and it really is important that we have these intelligent talks about this because
it's scary.
You can't be worried about offending people, like people that are Indigenous or something, because that's not going to get anybody anywhere. I've been on public record and said that that we all, I think everybody to a man almost supports reconciliation on some level, right? I think we can all say that, but what has happened here in BC now under the stewardship of, or should I say non-stewardship of, David Eby is just a spectacular mess, like really, really bad.
Well, I just can't understand why it would be such a, like, how it was drawn into such a disaster. Like the interpretation was given to the courts, the BC Supreme Courts, and now the judges or judges look at it and say, oh my gosh. And now the premier says, oh, well, they was hoping that maybe they wouldn't interpret it that way. It wasn't what it was meant to be. And now saying, hey,
he wanted them to interpret it that way, and now he says, well, now that you've interpreted it that way, it's like, why did you? I was the one that told you to do it, but don't listen to me.
Yeah, he's saying, well, why are you interpreting it that way? But it was written that way.
I told you to do it, but why did you do that? Yeah,
because they say that it was written back when he was the Attorney General. When he was the Attorney General. Like, oh my gosh.
There's a couple of news articles I just wanted to reference. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but there was a couple of articles in the National Post. One of them was from David Livingston. That was back on December 28th, and basically the headline for that one was EB's failure to protect private property will lead to financial crisis. And he says now that Aboriginal land rights are BC law, which they are, the economy's foundation is no longer secure. So that was back on December 28th. That's basically David Livingston's opinion. And then back on January 1st, which is just yesterday, we had Bruce Party say that virtue signaling devotion to reconciliation will not end well. Like the proverb says, make yourself a doormat and someone will walk all over you.
Boy.
So again, that was just yesterday. So this is the kind of narrative that's getting pushed out there now. And we have to also say that on Twitter you can see now that there's a big campaign. It's called Recall David Eby campaign. There's a campaign to recall David Eby. It's going to go into effect. They're going to officially. It's running right now, but they're going to officially submit it. I think it's going to be on April 8th. It's going to be submitted officially to April 8th. The campaign to recall David Eby because he's done such a mess. He's done such a mess of the province. You know, everybody knows that I'm a metaphor man. Like I'm known for my metaphors. One of the metaphors I was thinking of is one of the shows that I liked back in the day was 24. 24.
Oh,
Jack
yes.
Bauer. Jack Bauer would come in and save the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And remember season 2, he had to defuse a nuclear bomb. Remember there was a nuclear bomb that was going to be exploded in New York City, and he came in to defuse the bomb. Well, you can think of David Eby, like David Eby in his own mind. He's in his own mind. He's a Jack Bauer. He's coming in to save the day. It's like I'm going to come in and defuse this bomb. Well, excuse me. He's the one that built the bomb.
The architect.
He's the one that set the timer on the bomb.
Oh dear.
And he's the one that detonated the bomb. I mean, he's the one that's done everything, and yet he's coming in and saying, "Well, it's okay. I've made this mess. I've made this spectacular mess now, but I can clean it up. I can fix it. I detonated the bomb, but I can fix it."
My.
Like that's
What a disaster.
That's not a Jack Bauer moment. That's not a Jack Bauer moment. It's like, so this whole thing of like, I just have to think that David Eby is either really, really, really stupid, and I mean, I hate to be so opinionated, like, this way, but like he's either really, really stupid, or the other alternative is that this whole takedown of our province and the country, Canada as a country, this whole takedown was orchestrated on purpose. So again, it was either him being very, very, very stupid, or it was done entirely on purpose. And either one you pick, it's a disaster. Like you're talking treason. You're talking treason against the country.
Well, the way I look at it too is, a complete disaster. I mean, all the people that have paid their money into their mortgages, their property taxes, and then they say, "Hey, by the way, you actually don't own your land. You don't own your property. You don't." And so people say, "Well, what the hell?" And the part that really gets me the most too, on top of it all of that, is people with disabilities. Okay, so if they're renting somewhere and now they're said, hey, the owner may not even own that land. You could be booted right out, no clause, and you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So what happens then? Government goes, I haven't really thought about that part. You could go on a waiting list. There's like 20-year waiting list to get into housing, or in some cases, like we've had some guests talk about 14 years to get in. Like, holy crap. Imagine being on the street for 14 years, government, and, you've got health conditions. Where are you going to store your medication, right? Because the fact is that if you're not on a land that's actually owned by the property owner, your management company that you rent from, maybe they don't actually own it. They thought they owned it. They paid their taxes to the city. Maybe they own the property outright, which a lot of the big corporations do. They actually just trade them like monopoly back and forth. They don't have to remortgage.
Well, you just mentioned monopoly, Brent, and I was just gonna pipe in right when you said that. Right when you said that, because remember when you were a kid, and we would have our neighborhood kids come over, and we'd all play a game of Monopoly or whatever, right?
Don't pass go, don't collect.
Yeah, and say somebody made a mistake, and they're like, "Oh, can I have a take backseat?" Remember we had something called take backsies. Can I have a take backseat? Can I redo my move, right?
Yeah.
And David Eby wants to do the same thing. Like he's blaming the courts. He's blaming the courts, but he was the one, as Attorney General, that he instructed his his lawyers, the provincial lawyers, to say, do not argue for the extinction of Aboriginal rights on private property. You do not argue that.
I remember hearing about that. Yes.
And so now that he actually instructed them to not do that, to not argue for extinction, now that the courts actually listened to him, and now he's saying, well, why did you listen to me? I want to do a take backseat. Can I?
Oh my God!
Can I redo it? Can I redo it again? And you can't do that because the legal precedent has already been set.
Yeah.
Like there's
so basically the courts are listening on how he wrote it, how it was interpreted. So they're going, okay. And now he's saying, oh no, now you misinterpreted what.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now can I have a take backseat, please? Because I didn't really mean what I said.
Yeah.
And it's you can't really do that because it's a legal precedent, right? He has set a legal precedent, and I think he did it on purpose. Like I do think he's stupid. I'll just say it. I think he is stupid. That's my opinion. But I think his stupidity is done on purpose. It's a stupidity done on purpose. Like, I do think this whole thing has been orchestrated to actually take down all of Canada. So now you're going to have the entire country of Canada is going to be in this quagmire of all these land claims. And again, if you just take BC here, remember here in BC, for people that are in BC, they'll know that David Eby spent what was it, Bill 7, right? Remember he wanted to give the provincial government all this power to like ram stuff through the legislature.
Bill 7 and Bill 14 and Bill 14. Yeah.
To ram all this stuff through the legislature without having to go through the legislature, right? Just like to bypass the legislature, basically, to pass all these laws, to build in get things going faster. But the thing is that all this bill that he wanted to just do things faster, he can't do things faster now because you know why? Because all the Indigenous groups, all the Indigenous leaders have got veto power now over the provincial government that are saying you cannot go forward with these mining projects. You cannot go forward with these energy projects. We hold the veto.
Yeah, because he actually signed it off to them.
Yeah, he signed it off to them. He says, well, we'll give you veto power over our oil energy stuff, over our mining projects.
He signed off to them, and now he wants to give out a bunch of loans or grants or about billions of dollars to cover possible land claim disputes. And how many residents there are in BC? Oh my gosh, billions.
And the thing was,
no money though. I thought the government said they have no money.
Yeah, and the thing that bugs me the most is the whole thing was done in secret.
Yeah.
Again, we have to remind people. I mean, everybody in Canada knows what is the definition of democracy, Brent. It's like the public has a voice. The voter has a voice. Now, the BC voter did not vote. We don't get a chance to vote for the Indigenous leaders, right?
Right.
We don't get a vote to vote for that, and that's fine. That's fine. But having said that, the Indigenous leaders shouldn't have a monopoly over the 95% of the voters, because there's 5% of the population in BC here is Indigenous. Yeah. We have 5% Indigenous population, which means 95% aren't Indigenous. And so, but the way it is now, you've got 95% of BC voters don't have a voice. We've been silenced. The democracy of BC has been silenced because David Eby is fully 100% catering to Aboriginal interests and Aboriginal interests only, and basically giving the middle finger to the voter and saying, well, the average voter in BC doesn't matter. The only thing that matters to me is the Aboriginal leaders in this province. They're the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters to me is the whole settler narrative. That you have to buy into the settler narrative. That we have to fix this colonial mistake. This whole Canada is a mistake. the Confederation of Canada is a mistake. I mean, how poisonous and backwards and negative is that? Like, how can you move forward with Canada if you think the whole of Canada it was a mistake? If you think BC, the province of BC, is a mistake, the whole fact that David Eby thinks everything is a mistake. Like, why would he even want to be a premier? Why would he even want to be a premier over a province that he thinks is a mistake? That's my one question to David Eby. If he thinks BC is a huge mistake, this whole colonial mistake, and that Canada was a colonial mistake. If he thinks so hard on that, if he grasps so hard on that, he's so passionate about that, like, why is he even a leader of a province and a country that he thinks that we're this huge mistake that we have to apologize continually for ever and ever and ever. Amen. We have to apologize for everything. It's just so stupid and poisonous. Like I said, it's so backwards. But that is the backwards. That is the backwards stupidity of David Eby. Like, that's how stupid David Eby is, and I'm hoping people in the province wake up to how stupid David Eby is. Like, I did not vote for David Eby. For the record, I did not vote because I knew he was stupid. I already knew he was stupid, so I wasn't going to vote for stupid because I'm not stupid. I wasn't going to vote for stupid. But I'm hoping that people that did vote for stupid will say, I'm not going to vote for stupid anymore. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I think people are looking at it over the holiday season. I hear a lot of chit chatter around my community, and around family, relatives, and people talk about affordability, how things affected their lives since the last election in BC. Newsflash: things are not good. Things are not
They're
good.
horrible.
From public opinion, from what I'm hearing, and that's just from what I'm hearing. Now, my neighbors tell me that they echo what I'm saying, and I wonder if their friends are echoing what they're saying from what I'm hearing too. And so the news gets around saying, no, this is not what we voted for. Basically the other comment that keeps coming up is, I get reminded about this, is, where's the $1,000 rebate?
I know.
That's what I heard just the other day. Where's the $1,000? He ran with it. They said, what, was he lying about it?
Yeah.
Or just to get the votes? And I said, well, the $1,000 isn't here, is it?
Yeah.
And I said, remember, the government said they're broke. Oh, is that why they're handing out billions of dollars and hiring people the downtown east side? Oh no, they flubbed the first time because the media basically got a hold of it. And then they sent another guy down there because he's the expertise. Apparently, he knows firsthand how to deal with the homeless problem and all the crises that are going on down there. They said, the neighbor said, the guy's damn well determined to keep wasting our money, isn't he? But I thought they said he had no money. I go, well, that's what they kept saying because they didn't raise our rates. They said they didn't raise our rates since 2019.
Some people might be listening to this and saying, well, you're a disability podcast. Why are you talking about Aboriginal land claims? Like, why are you bothered talking about Aboriginal land claims when you're a disability podcast? I'll tell you why, Brent.
Yep.
Remember when we had Dan Davies on the show? And again, he came on, was it the 8th? I think he came on on the 8th of December.
8th of December 2025.
Remember his line in that podcast was, it's about the economy, stupid. Mm-hmm. Remember that was his line, is it's about the economy, stupid. And that's what we can say to David Eby, is that what gets lost in this whole thing is this whole mess has thrown our entire economy, it's just out the window, right? Because there's no stability. Like, our economy was underpinned by the real estate. I mean, remember back in the day when Christy Clark and company were running the province, how much money laundering and real estate fraud or whatever you call it was actually keeping the economy afloat.
Yep.
I mean, whether there's money laundering going on or fraud going on is kind of irrelevant. The fact of the matter is that our real estate is what is keeping our economy afloat anyway, regardless, right?
Oh yeah.
And so when you lose that certainty,
yeah, the washing machines were going full tilt.
yeah, I mean, when you lose when you lose that degree of certainty on the real estate market, like I'm one of the lucky ones. I am actually one of the ones that actually do own my place, so I am paying, for all intents and purposes, a form of mortgage now. Actually, my mortgage has been all converted over to a a credit line now, because I actually don't qualify for a mortgage anymore because I don't earn enough. But luckily, in my case, I was grandfathered in to ability to basically convert everything over to a credit line. So now my entire mortgage is a credit line. Anyway, the point of it being that I actually am owning my place. I am trying to pay it off. And so this idea, like in a year or two, the government's going to say, well, actually, Neil, you don't own your place anymore. I mean, how stupid is that? So you're going to have all these investors of like these big projects, maybe these big energy projects that won't want to invest because there's not that certainty anymore, right?
I was just going to say there was that multi-billion-dollar hotel in Richmond pulled the plug. They didn't want to deal with that because they were from Ontario and they were ready to set up shop. And of course, the uncertainty, they abandoned it. I mean, top investors. I mean, people who've owned their homes for decades are up and selling. As soon as they got wind of this, they up and sold and they got out of here. People are flocking away, leaving the province in droves, in record numbers. Sure, there's people coming, but people with disabilities. I mean, and it is connected. It is connected within that, in that realm. Definitely, because the uncertainty. People saying, "Well, geez, I'm renting." Like I said before, I mean, you're renting from a place. I mean, you could rent from a basement suite, a townhouse, apartment building, condominium, wherever it may be. Is there so much uncertainty? Maybe that owner who thought they owned it, maybe they don't even want to rent to that person with disabilities now because the uncertainty going, I don't know if I'm going to be forced to abandon my home. And
like even for myself, like I put a lot of money into my place. Like,
exactly.
Like not even just like, of course, the mortgage payments and all the rest of it. Like I've actually put a lot of money into this place. And so to have maybe eventually turn around and say, well, actually, Neil, you don't own this place. That's crushing. That'll be crushing to. It's not just here in BC. Again, David Eby has set a precedent. He has set a legal precedent, not just for BC, but for all of Canada. And everybody in Canada should be really, really, really scared crapless.
They should be pissed off.
And pissed off that Eby has done this. And the fact that Eby just turns around and says, well, it's not my fault. It's the court's fault for interpreting. I mean, he's the one that went bent over backwards with this interpretation act and said, please interpret it every single tittle of our legislation, like every dot and tittle of our every act that we pass through government now has to honor the everything through a Aboriginal lens.
Yeah, now I heard there's call for it being repealed or amended. I mean, what a disaster! Even if it's repealed or amended, I mean, it'll have to go all the way up to Supreme Court because David Eby was asked that question. He said, "Well, he's going to hit the wall," and they're saying, "Well, what do you mean, Dad? Hit the wall?" Means he says if it has to go all the way up to the Supreme Court of Canada, then, I mean, so he's basically thinking that, well, it's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada. The uncertainty, you know how long, folks, that's going to take?
I know, like at least 5 years, so like minimum 5 years.
And he won't even be premier by then. No. It'll be somebody else's problem, and all the uncertainty still will be Yeah.
Yeah, and again, the thing that I mean,
Oh.
to go back to my Jack Bauer, metaphor, like David Eby is riding on a horse thinking he's Jack Bauer. I'm sorry, he's not. He's the big baddie in the show. He's the big baddie in the show. He's the one, like I said, he's the one that set the bomb. He's the one that created the bomb. He's the one that detonated the bomb, and he has the nerve. He has the nerve to say, "I can fix it. I can fix it." There's a real threat to bring down not only the economy in BC,
Ooh, yeah.
but to completely blow up the economy of all of Canada.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if people aren't listening, they should be listening now. They should be like, be prepared because
You know how scary it is.
2026 could be shape up to be a doozy. If we thought 2025 was bad, I mean, you actually launched the show saying that the land claims was the story of 2025. I'm saying that the land claims is going to be the story of 2025 and 2026. And again, like I think David Eby needs a really sober reminder that he is the premier of BC.
Supposed to be.
He's supposed to be, and that he is he is supposed to represent 100% of its citizens, not just 5% Indigenous.
Yep.
But 100% of the entire population of BC, and this whole idea that he's basically kept this whole thing secret, and he's only catering to 5% of the population, of the Indigenous population, and he's basically like told everybody else to just go kick rocks.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, and stay tuned to the next episode, and we're going to talk all about the wheels go round and round, because transit keeps going round and round. So stay tuned.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round.
Round and round.